In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the testing environment in Lumen OHM, which is accessed from Blackboard. So here I am in the lessons folder for the orientation, and I've chosen the practice test. Now, if you get this screen, it's because you haven't done any work in your guided learning assignments. It's recommended that you do that, of course, so that you can practice for the test, but also so that you already have access. But you can click on Start 2-Week Trial and have access to your test, but you have to remember to update that as soon as possible. Let's read the introduction here. This practice test is provided to give you an opportunity to familiarize yourself with the testing environment. Keep calm and always follow directions. Technology fails us sometimes. If anything goes wrong, stay calm and courteous so that I will be in a position to help you to the best of my ability. This test is set up to allow 2 tries on each question with a 50% retry penalty. For example, if you answer a question incorrectly on the first try, it will be marked incorrect, and you will have an opportunity to correct the answer for a 50% penalty on that question. Keep in mind that the penalty is not off of the entire test score, only off of that one problem. You have 75 minutes to complete this test. Now that's the standard for actual tests. For this one, I'm going to do a shorter one to show you what happens when the time runs out. But normally you would have 75 minutes to complete the test, except for the final exam, which is 2 hours. You may continue working on the test for an additional 10 minutes for a fee of 25% off of any questions answered after the clock runs out. Do your best to complete the test on time. Answer the questions you are confident about first and come back to questions that you are unsure of. Do not let one question eat up a large portion of your time. For calculations, it is recommended that you use Microsoft Excel, although you are allowed to use the TI-8384 calculator at your own risk. Some questions will be more time-consuming using the calculator, and therefore you could run out of time. Another feature of using Excel is that you can save all your work as you go so that you can come back and review what you've done. So strongly recommend Excel. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in the password. You can see I have 4 points possible. I've made this practice test 2 minutes with a grace period of 1 minute, subject to a 25% penalty. And after I press start, it says this assignment has a time limit. Once you start the assessment, the timer will not pause for any reason. Are you sure you are ready to start? And I say yes. And oh yes, I believe I can do this. Okay, so now notice that the timer has started. And I'm going to begin by answering this question in a random sample of 80 students who passed statistics. 15% use statistics in their future careers. This is a statistic because it's from a sample. Now I'm going to answer that correctly, but I'm not going to submit it yet. Next, which of the following is a parameter? Okay, so I know that the correct answer is this, that I'm going to choose the wrong answer. Check all parts. What happened? Okay, so now I've got it wrong, but I have a chance to fix it. So I'm going to go ahead and fix it and check. So now you can see I've received half of the credit on that question. On this one, I'm going to answer it incorrectly, but not submit it. And on this one, I'm going to answer it incorrectly. What is a parameter? A known value from an observed sample or an unknown value from, okay, it's this one. So I'm going to answer that incorrectly. All right, now I will change my answer to the correct one after the clock runs out so you can see what happens. Now, while we're waiting, let me just point out a couple other features. You have a resource link here with a reference sheet, which is convenient for looking up formulas and definitions. So you'll have that and you'll be able to use it. You can organize your workspace to have certain windows minimized or share the screen. If I pull this all the way up to the upper left corner, And let's say I want my Excel spreadsheet to be down here. And then I want my actual test to be next to that. You see now I can see everything in one view. I can come in here and move up and down and side to side to look stuff up. I can use my Excel spreadsheet and see my questions all in one view. Okay, so now also I wanted to show you that you have a drop-down menu which shows the points you've earned. You can navigate to questions that way, as well as the arrow buttons. And you also have a message and structure option, which you should only use if you think something's wrong with the actual question. Now I'm going to change this to the correct answer, and then I'm going to let it run out and see what happens. Should I? No, I'm going to go ahead and submit it. I got scared. All right, so notice what happened here. The first question I had answered correctly, but I never submitted it. And so when the time completely ran out, including the grace period, my answer was automatically submitted, but it was after the time clock ran out. So I did get that overtime penalty. So the lesson is make sure you submit your questions as you go if you're sure they're right, especially. And this second question, which I had answered incorrectly first, and then I had a retry penalty. So it's cool the way it shows you all the penalties here. And question 3, I answered incorrectly, I think on both tries. I don't remember exactly what I did with that one. But then question 4, I answered incorrectly on the first try and correctly on the second try, but it was after the clock ran out. So altogether, 50% plus 25%, that's 75%. So you would think if there's only 1 point available, I should have got a score of 0.25, right? But no, because what it does is it first applies the 50% penalty, and then it applies the 25% penalty only off of this half a point. So you actually end up with a little bit more credit than 75%. But that's how the penalties are applied. And you can see the overall score up here, not too great, but I'm sure you'll do better on yours. And you also have the review questions view where you can actually see all your answers. And notice that here this one was incorrect. And if it was after the due date, you should see an option to reveal the correct answer for those, but it has to be after the due date. So, all right, so I hope that was helpful. And please remember to email me with any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.